We have talked a lot about messages flowing through Kafka, how they are replicated, and how controllers manage the cluster. But where does all this data actually live on disk? How does Kafka handle potentially endless streams of events without consuming all your storage, and how does it find specific messages quickly? Now we are going to dive deep into Kafka's storage layer. We will explore log segments. This will answer how Kafka physically breaks down partitions into manageable files. Next, we'll explore indexes. This will answer how Kafka quickly finds messages by offset or timestamp. Next is log retention, answering how old data is efficiently deleted. And finally, log compaction, a powerful feature for managing data where you only care about the latest value for a given key. Understanding these concepts is crucial for optimizing Kafka's performance, managing its disk usage, and grasping its data durability guarantees. So let's begin exploring Kafka's disk secrets. So now let's start exploring each one of these. The first is the partition. First, a quick recap. We know that in Kafka, all data is organized into topics, and each topic is broken down into one or more partitions. A partition is fundamentally an ordered, immutable sequence of messages or records. New messages are always appended to the end. Think of it like a never-ending append-only ledger or a continuous tape recording of events. But how does a never-ending log actually live on a physical disk, which has finite space? Kafka solves the never-ending log problem by physically dividing each partition into smaller, manageable files called log segments. Each log segment is a directory on disk under Kafka_log_dirs that contains several physical files. The most important are .log file. This is where the actual message data, the payload, is stored. And next we have .index file, which is an offset index. And after that, the .timeindex file, which is a timestamp index. Each log segment file is named after its base offset, the offset of the first message in that segment. When a log segment reaches a certain size, log.retention.bytes, which is default to 1 GB, or a certain limit like log.roll.hours, which is default to 7 days, Kafka rolls the segment. This means it closes the current active segment and creates a new empty segment to append new messages to. Again, imagine a very long scroll of ancient texts, which is your partition log. Instead of one impossibly long scroll, you break it down into numbered chapters or volumes. These volumes are log segments. Each volume starts with a specific page number, which is the base offset. So you can consider the page number as the base offset. When one volume gets full, you close it and start writing in a new one. With messages scattered across many log segments, how does Kafka quickly find a message, say at a specific offset or from a specific time? It uses indexes. Kafka maintains two types of indexes for each log segment. The first is the offset index, the .index file, which we just talked about for a brief while. And now we are going to go into a lot more details about this. So what is the purpose of this .index file? This index maps a logical message offset to its physical position, which is the byte offset within the .log file of that segment. And how does it work? Well, when a consumer requests to read from a specific offset, Kafka first identifies the correct log segment based on the segment's base offset. Then it uses the .index file to quickly find the exact byte position in the .log file, where that requested message or the one just before it starts. This avoids scanning the entire log segment from the beginning. Next is the time index, the .timeindex file. This index maps a timestamp to its corresponding message offset within the .log file. So now how does this work? If you want to consume messages from a specific point in time, for example, give me all messages from yesterday at 2 p.m., Kafka uses the .timeindex to find the offset closest to that timestamp and then starts reading from there. These indexes are like the table of contents and index in a physical book. If you want to go to page 500, which is kind of an offset, you check the table of contents. If you want to find chapter on XYZ, a time or a specific type of event, you check the index. Without them, you would have to flip through every page from the beginning. Since partitions are never-ending, how do we prevent Kafka from filling up our disks? Through log retention policies. Kafka allows you to define policies to automatically delete old log segments. This is managed per topic. The deletion is efficient because Kafka simply deletes entire old segment files, not individual messages. Some common retention policies include retention by time. So here we can see log.retention.hours or log.retention.ms, which is milliseconds. So default is 7 days. Kafka will automatically delete log segments whose most recent message is older than the configured retention time. And next we have retention by size, log.retention.bytes, and the default is unlimited. Using this, Kafka will delete the oldest log segments if the total size of all log segments for a partition exceeds a configured size limit. This is like a security camera recording system. You record continuously, but you only keep footage for the last 7 days, which is time-based, or until your hard drive reaches a certain capacity. So this is size-based, at which point the oldest recordings are deleted to make space for new ones. While time and size-based retention delete old data, sometimes you don't care about every single change for a piece of data. You only care about its latest state. This is where log compaction comes in, a powerful and specialized retention policy. So what problem does it solve? Well, imagine a Kafka topic storing user profiles. Every time a user updates their email or address, a new message with the user ID as the key is appended. Over time, you would have many messages for the same user ID. You probably only care about their current email, not all their past ones. So what is it actually? Log compaction guarantees that for each message key in a topic's log, Kafka will retain at least the last known value for that key. Older messages with the same key are eventually removed. The way it works is that a background process called the log cleaner runs on the broker. It reads through old log segments, identifies messages with duplicate keys, and creates cleaned versions of those segments containing only the latest message for each key. And if you send a message with a specific key but a null value, so it acts as a tombstone. The log cleaner will then remove that key entirely, including its last valid value, after a configurable grace period. This is how you effectively delete a key. The use cases for log compaction include change data capture, storing changes from a database table where you only need the latest state of each row, and also in building and maintaining a real-time table of aggregated data, for example, current stock levels or latest user scores. Another use case is key value stores. Using Kafka as a distributed persistent key value store where historical updates are not needed. You enable log compaction for a topic by setting log.cleanup.policy is equal to compact. And by default, this policy is equal to delete, but we can change that to compact if we want log compaction. Now, let me give you an example. Think of a continuously updated address book. And now, if we are talking about retention by time, you throw away the whole address book every year, even if most addresses haven't changed, and you create a new address book every year. So that is retention by time. The time is 1 year in this example. Now, in case of log compaction, again, the same address book, you have a process that goes through your address book, and for each person, it only keeps their latest address and phone number, crossing out all their old ones. If someone moves away, you put a deleted mark next to their name, and eventually their entry is removed entirely. This keeps your address book clean and up to date with current facts. You now have a deep understanding of how Kafka stores and manages data on disk. Your Kafka cluster is running and your knowledge of its internals is robust.